All right. We're back.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 4. God, can you believe it, Fletch? Four
It's
episodes.
the 4th episode. Oh my God. Fletch and Nick Show, the American F.A.N. podcast. We're back. I'm in a festive mood, so I got my little fun summertime shirt on.
And we got a special guest in the house today. She'll probably show herself at some point, but it's my lovely girlfriend. She can address herself as her own
Why don't
name.
you give a little shout in the background? Just let everybody know you're here.
Oh,
Alrighty.
She has a little, little something.
Okie dokie.
But
Hi!
There you go.
Here she is.
See,
folks.
that wasn't hard. Just say
Wait,
hi.
can I show my face?
Sure. You
Feel
come
free
around.
to in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. There you go.
Hi!
That's my girlfriend, everybody. Yes, I'm a very lucky guy, and yes, you should all be jealous right now. Anyway.
100%.
Now, before I go down the deep end, waste the entire episode just talking about how lucky I am, we got some interesting stuff to talk about today.
For sure. We're going to start out with politics like we usually do. Break it up into 3 different kind of segments or sections. But first of all, I know this has disgusted both of us.
Yeah.
Like what's going on with this current situation. So I'll let you break down, but I mean the basic topic is Thomas Massie, his bipartisan bill with Rokon, like in terms of the inability to even get the bill to a vote,
Which
because the Republicans have basically just C-blocked the whole situation. Look at me. Look how nice I'm being. Not even using the bad word.
They
But
don't
I
even
mean,
deserve that kind of grace.
Exactly. They don't. But why don't you give the a little synopsis, a little structure to like what's happening with the Thomas Massie thing and why you think this is occurring. I think it's directly implicated and attached to Trump just trying to silence anything with his involvement in any possibility with Epstein. So that's what my take is. But I'll let you like detail because you know a little more about Thomas Massie, big fan, and you know about the situation.
So I'm not going to come off as an ex. So I'm more of like a Rand Paul. I'm more of a Rand Paul expert than I am Thomas Massie. I've only learned about Thomas Massie since maybe earlier this year, and I think it's because at some point, part of the Problem podcast brought him up. That was because of I forget how it came up, but at some point his name came up, and then eventually he was a guest on Tim Pool's show.
Well, he's one of the only 2 Republicans that went against the big beautiful bill.
Who was the other one?
My big bill, my big beautiful bill.
Who was the other Republican?
Thomas is a loser.
Who was the other Republican?
I don't remember.
Because I don't think it was Rand Paul, was it?
No,
it wasn't Rand Paul.
I don't believe so.
Which, by the way, disappoints me
I
about
can't
Rand
remember
Paul. I
offhand.
definitely disagree with
But
him.
he was one of the people that did not go along with it. He was opposed to it, and that's why Trump, I think, called him. Well, he's called him a lot of names.
Just like he calls everyone. He calls everyone
a loser,
names.
a weakling, a nobody.
So I'm not gonna claim I'm some. Like, you can say, hey, why do you like Rand Paul? Well, I can go on for 10, 15 minutes why I like Rand Paul. I can only give you about a few minutes for Thomas Massie, but guess what? I only need 2 minutes to tell you why I like him better than someone like Donald Trump, and probably say most of the Republican and Democratic parties. The reason why is because, Trump likes to say, America first, and all that stuff, but meanwhile he believes in having Israel support, influence our foreign policy. He believes in big spending and not actually making the cuts that he and Elon Musk had pledged to make, and Congress had pledged to make.
Correct.
Whereas Thomas Massie, he is what you would call America first. He says we shouldn't be sending more aid when we are. Oh God, I wonder what the deficit is at this point. Someone feel free to comment below and
send
tell us
that
what the
in the
deficit.
comments.
Yeah.
It grows.
Again,
Doesn't
we
it
welcome.
It grows like $500 million a day, or something absurd.
It would not.
Something
not
absurd.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was higher. But he's America first, saying we are broke. We shouldn't be sending more aid to anyone, to Ukraine, to Israel, to nobody. He is actually one of the people that opposed Trump's spending bill back during his first term in 2020, and he was called a I don't know what he was called, probably like a rhino or a Libby or something like that. And then this year, he was being threatened by Trump to be primaried because he opposed the spending bill. And he's saying he wants to primary him, and he thinks, at the same week, he was saying Lindsey Graham was so fucking great. Pardon my French, guys, but I'm sorry. Lindsey Graham and the entire all the neocons, like, the people that are still there. Lindsey Graham is despicable.
If there's one Republican that's disgusting, I mean, there's many. There's both sides.
I think politicians are disgusting.
Yeah, in general, but I mean, Lindsey Graham takes it to a whole other level.
Oh yeah, I mean, he literally said at one point during an interview, I think it was earlier this year or last year, I think when someone said like, yes, X amount of people were killed by our strikes or something, he's like, he basically said, well, I can't believe there weren't more, or something. I'm paraphrasing, but it was basically saying, oh well, we should have done more. I'm like, you're a despicable human being.
He's the bottom of the barrel.
Meanwhile, Thomas Massie says anti-war, anti-big spending,
correct,
and truly America first. I don't know. Now, here's why I say I'm not an expert on him. I don't know if he's a non-interventionalist. I could believe that he is, but he's definitely not for sending aid right now when we're $40+ trillion in freaking debt.
I don't know if he's like what you just stated. He's not a classical non-interventionist, but he's definitely not a neocon that's like a war hawk.
He's not even a Trump. Like, so, he is all for.
By any means, he's not a pro.
He will only vote for bills that actually support Americans, and that's why he's gone against Trump, because a lot of these bills, or a lot of the propositions of the bills, they don't. Maybe some of them do support Americans, but the overall big picture, there's really not much. Like the cost outweighs the benefit for us all. Now look, we can give credit where credit's due. We did that in the last episode, or I'm sorry, 2 episodes ago. But it doesn't change the fact that when there's big problems and you think they're big enough, you're going to vote against it. And to think that Trump has the audacity to say that of all people, he is the enemy of the American people, I couldn't. Like I told you, I even posted this on Facebook online. When it comes between Trump and Massie, I am going to side with Massie. And
I agree with you.
And keep in mind, I voted for this dude in the last election. Trump was the first guy I ever voted for. Excuse me, guys. I ever voted in an election of any sort whatsoever. And for Trump to cover up this Epstein stuff, to support Lindsey freaking Graham, and say that Thomas Massie is just some liberal or some Democrat because he opposed him on some spending bill, Trump, you can kiss my ass.
Well, that's pretty straightforward, and it's an
on principle.
Probably orange and wrinkly at this point.
I may be
and flat.
Hey, I may have voted for Trump, but I am not afraid to go against him when it comes down to it. And I told my Democrat friends this, who never believed me when I said yes, I'm voting for him, and I will criticize. Credit where credit is due, and criticize where criticism is due. And a lot of them didn't believe me. I hope you guys are happy now, but don't think I'm joining the Democrats because your side still believes that men can get pregnant.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
Way off what I call the normal reservation. Way out in left field. The Massie-Rocon, the bill that they proposed, that they wanted to bring to a vote, was a bipartisan bill that just wanted to release the Epstein Files, the information.
They want to release the files?
They just wanted the files released. That was what they were asking for.
They want to do something
crazy.
Good.
That's why I was so confused as to why would you cock block that? Why would you C-block that whole situation? Doesn't make sense.
Clearly,
unless
they got
you have
some
a
shit to cover
vested
up.
interest, something within those files.
Or maybe their name is somewhere on those documents that shouldn't be there.
Probably what's going on. But yeah, that whole situation, I don't know how.
Drink for that one.
I don't know how there's going to be a resolution or how that's going to resolve itself. But I mean, it's after the August recess. It's obviously a stalling technique, which leads us to the next topic.
Yeah.
What they're trying to do with Ghislaine Maxwell. which is that's pretty much. Any other questions or like comments, concerns about the Massie situation?
Not necessarily. I've said my piece.
The bill has just been stonewalled. That's all there is to it. So,
yeah, and again, I've said my piece on that one.
Yeah. Well, the Ghislaine Maxwell situation is pretty interesting. Over the last 2 days, yesterday and today, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche has interviewed her for, I don't know, it's over 10 hours. I mean, it's a lot of
really. I haven't looked into
different coverage of the situation. All of that's going to be given to the Department of Justice, the DOJ. So, and I guess there's 100 different people that she's actually named or given in this interview process. At least that's what's being disclaimed, like at the onset, which I think the whole situation, my gut instinct, the whole situation is just a setup to give Trump what he wants, which is to like somehow like a public statement. And hey, it's Ghislaine Maxwell. She has told the public, not me, Trump, not anybody in my administration, I'm not involved in the Epstein Files.
Would make
sense. So that's what I think, the reason, the timing. Why are you interviewing Ghislaine Maxwell now? 2019, the charge, and then 2021
during the time of his
the
first
actual
term.
Conviction. So that's almost 4 years ago.
He could have.
Why all of a sudden do you want to like interview her now?
Honestly, looking back on it with what you just stated, now I actually feel stupid for ever believing that Trump was ever going to release the files, because they could have gone more hard into this during his first term. And one of the reasons I was an advocate for him winning in 2020, or why I think there were plenty of shenanigans that happened in 2020, and I think one of the things that cost him the election, if we really want to call it that, that's a whole other debate to be had. But like, I think that was one of the that being covered up, I think was one of the things that cost him the election in 2020 was that Epstein cover up. When they were calling it Russian disinformation, they said the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. They said that the Epstein cover was like not a big deal. He was just a pedo that killed himself, even though everyone in their right mind knew he. Sorry, guys, he did not kill himself. Suck it. Suck it, establishment.
I think I just swallowed a fly. And ladies and gentlemen, just on cue, my favorite laugh in the history of human beings on this planet Earth. Yeah, that's Morgan laughing in the background. That's not the mating call of the North American elk. It is a human being that's making that sound in the background. I can guarantee you that. Lovely individual and the best laugh of all time. Yeah. But to go back to Ghislaine real quick, and by the way, this is a nice little caveat, a nugget, as I call it, that nobody's talking about, but the major news institutions like NBC News, and then the actual written institutions like a Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, they're all, I don't know if anybody's noticed this, only a couple people have mentioned it in the national like podcast media, that they're always stating Ghislaine Maxwell, associate of Jeffrey Epstein, or Madame of Jeffrey Epstein, accused of human trafficking. That is not a true statement. She was convicted of human trafficking.
Of human trafficking.
That little, like, that's what I just want to bring to light, throw it on the table for discussion. It's little things like that, where they use a different word. Oh, Ghislaine Maxwell accused. No, she's in prison because she was convicted. Yeah. Hello. Like, it's like, no, you weren't accused. You were convicted of a crime. You were in on a major pedophile operation where you were convicted, not accused, of human trafficking.
I remember when the sentencing happened. It's a pet peeve of mine.
It's almost like they're trying to soften.
Well, this is
what a pedophile or what human trafficking is.
Well, it's not a pet peeve, Fletcher. This is beyond. Like, it's beyond just like, oh yeah, and she, instead of charging with this, she was charged with that. You know what this is going to be? Is they're going to say she was charged with this and that's why she went to prison. Now they're going to say that because she's going to give us some names, she might get a pardon. she's going to get a pardon. And you know what this means? This will literally mean that Trump will have pardoned someone who was convicted of running a pedophile, helping assist with a pedophile ring. How is this going to look for Trump if he does that?
Massive pedophile ring of massive proportions.
One of the biggest cover-ups in American history. Some people are saying it's the biggest cover-up in American history.
It's pretty disgusting if you even they're talking about full pardon, but most of the pundits are talking about partial pardon. She shouldn't get any pardon. She only got 20 years.
I'm sorry. If you even assist in any way, you are no different than the leader of that ring.
She's only in the interviews over the last 2 days given 100 different people associated with it. You remember in the last episode or the episode before when we talked
I think it was the episode before.
Yeah, when we talked more in depth about just the Epstein case, period, and I gave the background of who Jeffrey Epstein was. You have over 1,000, when they raided his place and they opened up that safe, there's over 1,000 CDs. You're telling me that there's only 100 people in? No, there's 1,000 tapes of 1,000 different episodes, and that's what they disclosed. It's probably more than that. It's probably over 1,000.
People in power.
It just shows you the magnitude of how many people were involved.
And this is why everyone wants. Like, I just looked. And let me tell you something, guys. I take polls with a grain of salt because I know the establishment doesn't like Trump, so I automatically think that whenever they give him low ratings, I'm like, gee, what else is new? Like CNN, whoever. But I gotta tell you, and I watched this on the Part of the Problem podcast, I think earlier this week. I actually think it was an episode that, I think it was their most recent episode that just uploaded on, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know. But Dave Smith was showing a clip from CNN, and look, it's not surprising that he's not polling great in all the areas, like every area, like immigration, whatever. Although I understand, although I don't think his polling for immigration, like I think they said he was like minus 13 or something. I don't think it should be that low. I think he's done well. He could do better, but I don't think he should be in the negative category.
Yeah, no,
but,
not at all.
By the way, I think
right or wrong, not after the last 4 years when you had just complete ineptitude.
Yeah, that was
Trump's done some good things. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, this is just a major blunder.
But yes,
like,
but that's
be
what
honest.
That's what I want to tell you. So they mentioned like immigration, economy, and like he's not doing well. And I'm like, you know what? Some of these I'm like, you know what? This is expected, right? Dude, like, so again, immigration was like minus 13. I could be wrong. Maybe it was minus 7. I don't know. There was a bunch of numbers. I was at work when I was listening to it. But anyway, I think it was. Yeah, it was a bunch. But one of the topics was the Epstein Files. He is minus 37 points right now in this thing. No, everybody in a lot of Trump supporters. Everyone is mad at Trump over this.
It's disgusting.
Like, this is even worse than Biden's disastrous administration, which, by the way, I would still objectively say was a far worse administration than this current one.
1,000%.
Like, I will still say that. But, like, Biden at his worst was never that low in regards to that, like any category like that. Biden was still like minus 10, minus 7 or something like that. But Epstein, this is a whole other ball game.
Do you remember pre-election the way you and I used to talk?
2024 election?
Yeah, the most recent one.
Gotta make sure.
The one where Trump just won over Kamala. What was the joke? I can't even believe that was even an election. It wasn't. Because she was just
it wasn't an election because she wasn't even duly. She
never went through a primary.
She didn't go through a primary, and when she did go through a primary, what was that word?
She wasn't doing anything.
She didn't do anything. She didn't do interviews, and when she did, she couldn't answer a stupid question. Even people that I knew, I've talked to some people. Our friend Danny, shout out to you, Patches. You're a great friend. Good job on your cover. Your covers. Ice Cherry. Shout out to your band. Ice Cherry's great. And he was saying, I'll say it's about someone else. He, mentioned, he and others have told me, like they said they like voted or at least preferred Biden in 2020 or something. But this time they were all saying, dude, they may not have voted for Trump. A lot of people sat it out, which I understand. But they were like, dude, Kamala was fake.
Yeah.
like they're like disastrous and all that stuff. Like she didn't do anything. But my issue is even at Biden and Harris, like on any issue, I never saw them at -30, let alone -20 on something like the border or the Epstein thing. Now, granted, Epstein wasn't a big topic during the administration, even though a lot of Trump supporters were talking about, myself included. But this is on a whole other level. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, my whole point in bringing up the 24 election, real quick, as a nugget, a side note, was just the fact when we used to talk, he had a monumental, probably a once in a generation opportunity to be a president that could have brought about such impactful change. And even though he's done a great job on the border, I'm not gonna subtract that from him. It's amazing. He's done some other good things.
I support what he did.
The tariffs, I was you got to keep an open mind. The mind's like a parachute, only works when it's open. I was a little hesitant, but they've actually worked. He's done some interesting and good things. Everything's going to be marred. Everything's going to be swallowed up by the Epstein situation.
And
because
there's no reason to
it's
do
a
unless you have
simple
something to hide.
fix. Just be honest. And he won't do it. The administration won't do it.
They should have never campaigned. Like, if they just never said we're going to release the Epstein Files, I would not have been happy. But, and look, again, how can you tell when a politician's lying? Their lips are moving, It's
100%, yeah.
But
the old joke.
But still, when you say something, whether it's positive or negative, no matter how good it is or how bad it is, in some way, shape, or form, it's going to be held against you. It's one thing to say, I'm going to cut the size of government. Gee, I've heard that before. We're going to make budget cuts. I've heard that before. Whatever. We're used to it, right? But it's another thing to say, I'm going to release the Epstein Files. This is something different. This was the biggest cover-up, some people are saying, in American history. Worse than Biden's dementia, saying Biden's sharp as a tack when in reality he didn't know where he was shaking hands with invisible people. And then bigger than Watergate, bigger than the JFK assassination.
That's the one I would say it's on par with.
This is insane. A lot of people in power and in
JFK
Hollywood
died. I mean, that's a pretty steep price to pay for a cover-up that still isn't. It has not been dispelled. We all kind of know what happened. I mean, to a point, it's definite government involvement. It's not like that lone gunman theory that's been disproven a million times.
I'll leave you on this quote regarding that.
Anyways, it's unreal.
I'll leave you on this quote regarding a conversation about JFK. Just one statement, then not peter off. I was watching. You know who Roger Stone is, right?
Yeah, he's extremely interesting. I love listening to him.
So I watched him on Patrick Bet-David's show one time, and my favorite story in politics I've ever heard was when he was talking about his conversation with Richard Nixon, and he managed to get some drinks on him, and I think he asked him. Firstly, he asked him.
I remember.
So who killed Jack Kennedy? And he said some random name. It was irrelevant. And then after a while, he kept pushing. Then he got some more drinks on him. Eventually, he asked him one more time, do you know who killed Kennedy? Or did LBJ kill Jack and whatever? I'm paraphrasing, but anyway, eventually Nixon said, "Well, put it to you this way, Roger. Both LBJ and I wanted the presidency. The difference is I wasn't willing to kill for it."
Wow. I forgot the quote, but I remember the conversation.
I'm like, that's that part. Let's just say I find fascinating. But regardless, that might be something we can get into another time. But no, the point I'm trying to make again is this is probably so we can say here's the thing, JFK. What happened with him is insane. And I would like every answer in the book regarding that. But guess what? It's not the last time we dealt with an assassination because
we're never gonna get it.
Yeah, no. But it's the same thing with we house had Abe Lincoln be assassinated. And he's known for freeing the slaves, although there's a debate to be had about that. Let's just say that he wasn't exactly the American hero that a lot of people make him out to be. But that's a topic for another time. Is this Epstein cover-up is, I'm telling you, this involves powerful people, both in politics and Hollywood, in the movie and in the entertainment industry, at Disney, at Warner Brothers, all these people. You know, there some of the leaks of the list that I saw. And again, this is allegedly. Full disclosure, no defamation lawsuit, please. Allegedly, people like James Gunn and Steven Spielberg and James Cameron were all on that list and stuff. Again, this is alleged. There are some versions of the list that did not have any of those names. Again, there's no confirmation, but the fact that even one name from Hollywood, and I don't know I forget which name it was, but there was one that do you think I remember if it was consistently on every list? I just remember at some point looking at different versions of it, and at least one person that was consistently on the list was someone from the entertainment industry. Like, I looked up the name one time.
There were many. I mean, Kevin Spacey is on every single log. Travel log. He's in the Black Book.
I think he talked about that on Piers Morgan's show. I think he actually mentioned him being involved with that because
he acted like, well, yeah, I've been on the plane. What's the big deal? Okay.
Oh yeah, what's the big deal? You were only on a plane with one of the biggest pedophile ringmasters of all time. So what's the big deal,
guess it's
right?
Not a big deal, but yeah, no, he did dispel that, but. And then he made an open plea.
That sounds like the
Piers Morgan, because he was going through some financial difficulty after he's already made like $150 million in his life. So he was telling Piers Morgan how bad he had it, like with all of the lawyer fees. And I'm like, what?
Oh, boo!
This guy who's made over $150 million. He is a talented actor. You know, he was in a lot of awesome movies, but. I mean, I don't feel sorry for him. He made quite a few.
I still think he played. I still think he played the best Lex Luthor.
He did. I would agree with that.
I think he played. No disrespect to Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman was great as Lex Luthor. I just think that he had the look, and he had the attitude and the menace of Lex Luthor. I do think to this day, no one can
Oops.
The word has left. Sorry.
It's an important prop.
I can't live up to. That's the word I was looking for.
Thank God this thing's made out of wood.
Right.
He just partially destroyed it. All right, well, let's pivot. Let's pivot. Let's get off of Ghislaine. Let's get off of the negative, like the whole Epstein situation.
Yeah.
Talk about something more pleasant, more promising.
Yeah.
The Obama prosecution from Tulsi Gabbard, director of NASA.
I got some choice words about this one.
I just love the fact, here, I want to do something fun at the beginning of this. They're supposed to be releasing, I don't know, they were very vague, over the next week or so. Oh, okay. I wonder what the or so means. Could it be contained for, months and years on end? Possibly. But they had code names, the different characters, like the major players involved. In terms of Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, they had code names in the text messaging that they thought they would never get caught. So I wanted to share this with the audience. If you didn't hear this, plus if you did, it's just hilarious because I want a code name, and I want to go over what our code names would be in any type of conspiracy, whether it be with the 2020 election. The 2016 election is what was affected, or what they're gonna try.
Yeah.
Key word is try to prosecute Barack. I don't think anything's gonna happen, but that's beside the point. But here are the code names. So in the text messaging, Bill Clinton's code name, his identity was Eagle. So the eagle has landed. So I thought that was kind of cool, very Democrat. Look what's behind us. For our logo is the American Eagle, and
he of all people that
doesn't associate with Bill Clinton at all.
Just know, if I think Eagle, I think the American Eagle, and I don't think of Bill Clinton. I'll tell you that. I will never think of Bill Clinton.
Hillary's code name was Evergreen, and I would love to know why. I don't know.
Evergreen?
I don't get the association from her point of view.
Well, it's just like the name of some of our operations in like Afghanistan, for example, or Iraq. I forget which one it was. What's called Operation Anaconda. So, like, why would you name it after a snake?
Why would you name that after a snake? It's really odd.
Or Operation. God, there were some crazy names for operations, I'll tell you.
Hillary's kind of prickly, like a pine tree. So I don't know,
or like
she's
a cactus, more like a cactus.
Yeah, I would have
because everything that touches her gets hurt.
I would have called her a
or
cacti,
dies, depending on the severity of it.
She's kind of shaped like an evergreen, a pine tree. She kind of looks like a big triangle with a big head on it.
Oh my!
So yeah, I don't know.
Hey,
I might wind up dead if I'm not back for the next podcast.
He did not commit suicide.
Like
he is
everybody
not
else
suicidal.
Insulted.
He is not suicidal.
I'm definitely not suicidal at all. I have a great life. I'm a happy guy.
Hey, I have a joke for you.
I have a horrible dating life, but I enjoy it still.
Hey,
definitely not suicidal. So come looking for me and come looking for answers if I don't show up for the next episode. But evergreen for Hillary. And my favorite was Barack. Obama was renegade. Like, what?
I do want to tell you my quick joke regarding Hillary.
Hillary?
What's her favorite pizza place?
Here we go. You told me this once before and I forgot. Go for it.
We got a little comedy show going on back here. But anyway.
Do you know the answer? Do you have a guess? Yell it out.
So what is Hillary Clinton's favorite pizza place?
What is it?
Little Caesars.
Here he goes. Then he laughs at his own joke, ladies and gentlemen. That's the best part. That's why I love when he tells a joke. So, renegade, evergreen, renegade. Eagle. And there was another one that like would text message, but not as often as those three. And it was Big Penis Mike. I don't know who that is. But I'm curious to see in the comments if anybody knows who is Big Cock Mike.
We like your comments. Put them down.
I'm just saying. I don't know. Could be an Obama. Could be somebody else. I don't know. I'm not saying anything.
Maybe
I've seen her dancing on different talk shows. I saw a wiener. Okay? I'm just going to say it for the... Why doesn't anybody want to state that? For the obvious. There's definitely a wiener that's swinging. I wish I had a wiener.
What the hell?
Wish I had a wiener that long that you could see
I'm
it.
out of here.
It's like a swing set. We'll cut this out later, him leaving. We'll cut out Big Mike. I'm sorry. That's not nice. But it's the truth. Why doesn't anybody want to talk about it?
Why are you breathing your... What the hell?
That was alleged. I saw that on a dark undercover podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was not a part of the timestamp.
It was called the Deep State Podcast of 2025. It was on like a very obscure channel. So I can't attest to the last little text name or text like hidden name. But the first three are definitely, all kidding aside, those are legit. Those are supposed to be released. But the big thing was, I mean, the whole Tulsi investigation and what she proclaimed to the American public over the last week, it started in December 9th, 2016. So Trump wins the election. He beats Hillary, surprisingly. It's kind of an upset victory. Everybody had her earmarked to be the first president, everything else.
Yeah.
Trump comes along and he does very well, ends up winning the election. And now, December 9th, 2016 forward, you have this whole act that everybody colluded together. And it's funny because they all used Russian collusion. No, like actually the Democratic...
Russian propaganda.
The Democratic Party colluded to actually try to prevent Trump from accomplishing anything in his first time president, 2016, 2020, but it all started December 9th, 2016. She has all of the messaging between FBI Comey, James Comey, CIA Director Brennan, and the Director of National Intelligence at that time, Clapper. I mean, she lays it out in a we're not going to go over because, I mean, it literally would take us an hour or two to go over all of her what was it? It was like, it's pretty extensive. It's like 360 some pages
Unbelievable.
of all of
I mean, they and his own intelligence agency framed him for treason.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, it's insane. And again, as someone who's not a Trump guy, I mean, this is insane. This is criminal. Imagine if the Republicans did this to Obama in 2008. Dude, the establishment would be flipping over this.
Correct. 1000%. It's really interesting, though, if you just want to dive in on what I call a surface level, because it's real interesting in her detailed report, meaning Tulsi Gabbard, by the way. Hi, how are you? I have a crush. Every time she wears that white suit, oh my God, I can't concentrate.
Fletcher,
I had
we
to
talked
pull
about
over.
this.
I had to pull over on the road. I'm not saying anything bad. Just saying she's a beautiful woman. Should, keyword, she get a divorce? Hey, you know who to call.
You know, I'm hoping to have
It's
her on
the
the podcast
snazzy guy.
sometime.
It's the snazzy guy in the Hawaiian shirt.
Listen,
That's
I want
it.
her to be on the podcast sometime. I don't want her to be creeped out by your...
No, she's gonna be creeped out of it regardless. I mean, who cares? That's never gonna happen.
You never
the director
know.
of national intelligence is not gonna come on the American F.A.N. podcast.
Never say never.
That's true. I won't say never say never. But
Dave Smith started with an iPod in the living room.
It's a stretch, but I mean, you're right. I'm just saying, I'd like to procreate with you, and I think you're beautiful. All right.
Oh my
Anyways.
God, Fletcher!
I'm just gonna leave it at that. No, I'm just kidding.
Full disclosure,
But,
I do
alright.
not condone his
any of this.
The views of the pod do not necessarily reflect.
When the podcast continues and you noticed an empty seat with the blue microphone, you'll know why. Because I'm in a detention center under FBI and CIA control. Yeah, it's 100% going to happen. At some point in my life, I always thought that one of the agencies would get me for one of my comments. Maybe that's the one.
Ladies and gentlemen, I did not anticipate
December 9th, 2016 forward, Obama conspires with all of his team. And it's really interesting on a surface level if you just want to dive in, like what I call putting your big toe in, rather than just doing a full-blown dive, because you can spend hours. And who has that type of time? But the way NBC, the Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, and the New York Times were cooperative with the Democratic establishment at that time,
the media
led
outlets
by
favored...
Obama. Even though Trump's already elected, they all colluded together, and I just find that so hypocritical and crazy. Because these are the people that pushed for years that Russia colluded with Trump. No, behind closed doors,
Vladimir Putin
you guys
elected Donald
colluded
Trump
with
as
our
president,
own
which is a load of
government,
bullshit.
with our own government to stymie this guy, so he has no chance of accomplishing anything. On a daily basis, he's fighting Russia. It was all bullshit.
All this
in her report, all of the intel agencies pre-December 9th, and that's why it's so extensive. How many hundreds of pages? Because all the intel agencies up to that point, they tell you that there is no Russian interference. Russia doesn't have the capability to hack. CIA, FBI, DOJ, everybody's telling you one story, and then December 9th, everybody has 2016 to declare that, the actual date. And then that forward, now all of a sudden Russia hacked the election, and it was all because of a meeting with Obama.
You know, that was
Mr. Renegade.
Yeah, it's no wonder that they've had, and again, and by the way, I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast, but I'll say it right now. I am not a Putin fan. I think he's a monster.
No, he's a dictator. He's a scumbag.
He's a scumbag. But it's just like when they said, "Oh, he hijacked our elections and he wants to reconstitute the Soviet Union and whatever." It's a load of nonsense. So first off, the only evidence we had that Russia interfered with our elections was Hillary Clinton making that fake Russian dossier to frame Donald Trump, as they were both spying on him. Both she and the Obama were spying on him. By the way, this was revealed recently, I think in the last 2 years, that they spied on his campaign and him during the White House, his time in the White House. And then when they say he wants to reconstitute the Soviet Union, it's because of a quote that doesn't have full context. That's why he was talking about how he said this. I'm not going to go into the full detail. All I know is this. The quote is, I'm paraphrasing this first part. That's when he says, anyone who doesn't cherish the memories of the Soviet Union has no heart. But then here's the second part that they leave out because, they want to say Vladimir Putin is the one that's running America, which is, again, bullshit. But the second quote they forgot to mention is, but anyone who wants to bring it back has no brain. So he said you should honor the memories of the Soviet Union, but anyone who wants to bring it back, you don't have a brain. Now, I'm no fan of the Soviet Union. I never will be. I mean, one of my favorite movies of all time, I didn't expect it to be. This will actually segue to a later topic. One of my favorite movies of all time is Red Dawn, which is about a group of high schoolers going against the Soviet Union. I mean, that's like one of the most badass movies you can ever make. But, it's just a load of bullshit. They were saying, oh, yeah, Putin hijacked our elections or whatever. It's like, it's the same song and dance and whatever. But do you want my response to the Tulsi Gabbard thing or not?
Yeah, before we pivot to movies, what do you think? I don't think... See, it's very, very hard. Even though she gives a detailed report, there's a lot of evidence. It's very hard in the criminal world in terms of prosecution to prove intent. So, I mean, it's very hard to prove intent. Obviously, from a common sense standpoint, they're all guilty. I mean, it's pretty obvious.
This is why.
But I don't think in terms of prosecution, Obama's actually going to get prosecuted. But I like the idea that they're putting all this information out there and they're putting him through a process, the paces, because of what he did. There should be some sort of retribution. There should be some sort, in what I call honest retribution, where this is justified. This is valid. What they did was wrong. What they did was criminal. But I just don't think because of the magnitude of what all of those parties represent to the Democratic Party, I don't think anything's gonna happen. They're not gonna do jail time.
So
a lot of people are like, "Yeah, Obama's going to jail." You and I both always going to jail.
So a few things.
So what are your thoughts on that? Like, how far do you think it's gonna go?
So a few things I'm gonna say on that is first off, so either way, stuff's not gonna be done. So here's the way I look at it. So option one is they go after him and they prosecute him, and basically he gets the sweetest deal possible because he is a man on the Democratic side and that has a lot of influence and is very much in bed with the establishment. Nothing's going to get done.
He's like the crown. He's one of the kingpins of the establishment.
Yes.
So I just don't think it.
But then there's a second one, whereas they won't do anything and they're using this as a way to distract us from the Epstein Files scandal.
1,000%.
So,
good point.
Regardless, they should have done this 10 years ago.
1,000%.
They should have done. Tulsi Gabbard was on record back during the time she was not in favor of Donald Trump, and even endorsed Joe Biden for the presidency in 2020. She was the one Democrat who voted against his impeachment process because she said she saw the corruption. His impeachment in, 2018, I believe it was? It had to be because he wasn't president for long in
pretty sure
2017. So I'm just going to say 2018 for the sake
early
of it.
19 possibly, but it's 18. I
but
believe.
She has known. She used to be with these people. She was a Democrat,
100%.
and I think at heart, I think she still is a Democrat. This is actually a big disagreement I had with Cenk Uygur. He said, so RFK Jr. is a Democrat, but Tulsi Gabbard always felt like she was right wing. I'm like, you always felt she was right wing? She was a military person who didn't support guns.
Correct.
I'm like, you can't get any less right wing than saying you don't like guns.
She's too Democrat. I read her book. What is it called?
But she changed her mind. I think she changed her mind.
For Love of Country. I read her book. It's on my coffee table in my house. Hopefully someday I can get an autograph. But yeah, terrific book. I mean, it was so disappointing for her. She grew up, I mean, her whole goal was to become a representative someday after serving her country, which, I mean, up into her appointment of DNI, being the director, and she served in the reserves of the Army. I mean, the woman's a phenomenal human being. All joking is, I know I joke around about her looks. She is stunning. She's beautiful. But I mean, as a human being, she was like railroaded by Hillary. I mean, so
arguably
many of the Democratic Party.
In some ways, worse than in some ways, not
some
overall,
ways, not
but
overall,
in some ways, like
but you're right.
It's not like he was tailed the way she was,
No,
for example. But
I mean, she was on the travel watch list where she had to register just to go on an airplane. Why? Because you had the audacity to call out Kamala Harris in a debate. You had the audacity to challenge
one of my favorite debates
Hillary
of all
Clinton.
time, by the way.
Like, I mean, it's like, come on, Hillary.
And that's why, and
it's disgusting.
Like, one of the things I remember from the 2020 election when, when some Trump supporters started really liking Mike Pence, and I'm like, this is low-hanging fruit, was when Mike Pence debated, and the reason why I bring this up is because, Tulsi Gabbard completely smoked Kamala in that debate. And they said, oh, Mike Pence destroyed her. I'm like, oh, gee, that's why you like Mike Pence? Because he destroyed Kamala Harris in a freaking debate? My son could go on that debate stage and beat her just by saying 5 words, and she loses the debate. She can't debate. She doesn't have any good talking points. She's a corporate talking piece of crap robot.
And again, that was pretty straightforward, and I agree, 1,000%.
But anyway, it's like...
Well, Tulsi's going to give all of this information. This is why, another reason why I say, not to, but just a little nugget, super quick. Department of Justice, she's going to turn all this information over. So it's not like Tulsi herself or anybody associated with the national intelligence community can actually do the prosecution. You have to turn over this extensive evidence, everything that she presented to the public. Now it goes to the DOJ, and that's where I think, Obama has been around for how long? You're telling me he doesn't have contacts in the DOJ? It's not going to go anywhere. I like the story. I like the fact that they're trying to nail a dirty politician on something.
But I know
I
it's
just
not
don't
for,
think it's
not for virtuous reasons.
Do you think anything's going to come to fruition in terms of prosecution? Neither do I.
Nope.
So, yeah.
Nothing.
Well, we can leave it on that, unless you got any more comments about Tulsi?
They're trying to distract you guys from the Epstein scandal. Keep your eyes on it. Do not forget about it.
And then we'll pivot. We're going to...
what about you, sweetheart? Do you have any thoughts on... No? You don't have any? Okay. Understand. Respect.
We're going to pivot. We're going to do something fun, because we always like to talk about movies.
Of
at
course.
the American Fan Podcast, the Fletch and Nick Show. So I thought it would be cool for you and I to detail our 3 favorite flicks, our 3 favorite films.
Any rules that apply to this? So
no, just 3. I mean, they don't have to be like, it's not concrete. No one's gonna grade anybody if you say Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Hey, that's your favorite movie, whatever.
Well, the reason why I mentioned rules is some people, and I actually like to go by this just to make more of a variety. Some people say not in the same universe, so you can't. So, for example, you can't say I'll spoil this right now. Avengers Endgame is my favorite one, but I couldn't say Infinity War is my second favorite movie. Do you see what I'm saying there?
Yeah, there's no rules.
If you don't want to go by that,
if all 3 of your movies were Marvel, it's all good.
Oh, no,
like 3 of your favorite movies, and of the 3 movies, we'll go one by one. What's your favorite quote within the movie? I thought that would be cool.
Sure.
To just talk about, and it doesn't have to be one quote. It could be several, whatever the flow is of the moment in talking about movies, because I love talking about movies. I mean, it's one of my favorite subjects.
It's
when I do any of my
favorites.
trivia shows today, I did it to Rocky River Senior Center. So Miss Lori, who's the director, nice little shout out. She said she's actually going to watch. She's a terrific human being.
Great.
I did it to 101 seniors over the age of 65 today. They are so used to me now when I do the topics and the categories for each round.
Yeah.
I'm like, topics, categories, round 2. Oh, my second favorite topic. You got 100 people that yell movies. first favorite topic, they all yell sports. I mean, they're already trained to say like sports and movies. So I just love talking about movies because I've had an affinity for like film in general. I always want to do someday. I did make a promise to my mom a long time ago. My mom's no longer here, but I did say
May she
in
rest in peace.
some capacity I would be in a movie at some point. And the only thing up to this point, when I worked for TJ Maxx as a 19-year-old kid, I did their training video. So there is a movie out there. I did a training video. I played Ace Ventura. You know, Ace. This is a true story. I don't have I had a copy, and I lost it when I bought a house with a very evil human being, and she threw out a lot of my stuff.
Yep.
So I don't have the copy anymore. If there's somebody that's watching this, and they worked with me at Marshall / TJ Maxx in 2009, no, not 2019. What a maniac. What did I say that for? 2019. I'm stuck on the Obama prosecution in my brain.
Congratulations.
Shows you how much my brain is not working today. I'm exhausted. That's a good question. Morgan just yelled, "Are you okay?" No, I probably not. But it's the
what else is new?
It's the old people from the trivia show. They wore me out today, so I'm a little worn down. But this is going all the way back to pre-high school. I was in high school at some point, 1994, 95. If you have that training video for TJ Maxx, it was called Ace Ventura. What do they call that? They call when you have theft at the store. It was shrink, right? It's still called shrink. It's a business term, shrink. Like how much you get stolen from in terms of business, business revenue. You call it shrink. It was Ace Ventura, Shrink Detective. Like, so at some point, I got to make my way onto a movie set, even if it's in the audience and I wave, so I fulfill my promise to my mom. But I thought today it would be super cool to like detail our 3 favorite movies and like the famous quotes or our favorite quotes from those movies. So I'll let you lead off like with, just one of your 3 favorite. And is there a quote that sticks out, something in the movie, that really like moves you, resonates with you, where you, on a daily basis, all 3 of mine that I can bring to mind, and all 3 of the quotes I use in like daily living. That's how much the movies impacted me. I think about them almost on a daily basis. It's pretty cool. So, yeah, I'll let you lead off.
So it's really hard because, there are points where top 3 is, there's a lot to be said there, but I think...
Or 3 of,
So,
if it's not your
my favorite
concrete top 3, just 3 of your favorites.
So, my 3rd favorite movie of all time is probably... I can't believe I had a second one. I can't... Wow, how did that leave right away? That's insane. So my 3rd favorite movie is Sound of Freedom.
Wow, that's a recent movie.
Very recent.
Yeah, that's a terrific movie.
My 2nd favorite movie of all time is Star Wars Episode 3. And my
Episode 3, Return of the Jedi?
No. Revenge of the Sith. Return of the Jedi is Episode 6 from the original trilogy.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And then my all-time favorite movie, and as I mentioned the last episode, I showed my girlfriend this for the first time. She loved it too. Is Avengers Endgame, and
such a good movie.
Dude. I'm telling you right now, and I actually wanted to ask you, Morgan. Even though it was 3 hours, did it feel like 3 hours for you? And did it feel longer? Or did it feel like shorter?
It felt short.
Short, yeah, because.
Sorry, I'm trying to look up Ace Ventura: Shrink Detective.
Hey, what do you know? She's doing the work for us, guys.
I don't think anybody in their right mind would ever try to publish that. It's hilarious. Even at my hair.
The only thing that's coming up is a costume sold at TJ Maxx. That's all.
Sounds about right.
But they're selling my costume.
So, but yeah, that movie, it flows well. I said in the last episode, I'm not gonna repeat myself unless people want that for another episode. But yes, those 3 movies, And I know it sounds like, I'm just another
Well,
millennial
start with Sound of Freedom. What was your favorite quote? Like within the movie, like a famous line.
There was a
really
line in there. I forget what it was, but I think it was. There was a lot of good lines said in that movie. I think one scene, guarantee, like I'll rewatch and I'll hear another quote where I'm like, this one's better. But the first thing that comes to mind is actually a question. It was a conversation, and that was actually the very beginning. Spoiler warning. Warning. Okay. Spoiler warning is over. So in the beginning, Tim Ballard, who Jim Caviezel plays, he was talking with the other. What would you call it? Soldier? I think they were both soldiers. Mm-hmm. He was with like that other guy, and he was asking, how we did for the day and for the job and stuff like that. And he was they were talking about like how many pedophiles do they catch, and Tim Ballard said, X amount, not bad. Like I forget what number it was. I think it was like 200 or something. He goes, like 200, not bad. And I think we did well today. And the guy asked, how many kids did you save?
Yes.
And he did not have an answer for that because their goal, they thought they were doing the right, and in some way they were. I think they were doing half the right thing. Catching the pedophiles is very important. I think every single one of them should be caught and prosecuted and executed. Everything, every bad thing deserves to happen to them. But they didn't do the other half, which is saving the children that were victims of those people. So that conversation really does stick out to me. That conversation, it just tells you.
That's super powerful. I remember that scene.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then.
How many did you save? Yeah.
Yeah, how many did you save? And that's because that question is worth 1,000 words. How many kids did you save?
Literally, not even figuratively. Literally.
And I don't even think he couldn't name one, and that's what the movie is about. Him going to find the two siblings that were kidnapped. So that says something, and that movie is just phenomenal. Honestly, I'm surprised. I can't believe that movie got away, and I know why they did it, but that movie got away with the PG-13 rate, and I can't even believe that they did, because that movie's content itself. The movie took 5 years to reach theaters, and you can ask her and everybody else.
It's somewhat disturbing in a very.
It's a real freaking story.
It's so real. That's the reason why it's disturbing.
No mainstream media outlets or companies wanted to sponsor the movie. That's why it took so long. The movie was. Jim Caviezel even said.
Lifetime denied it only because they said they wanted it to be on the big screen. They said it.
Lifetime actually denied it.
Denied it because they said I want it to be on the big screen. They said they weren't.
Wow, I did not know that. I actually did not know. But every other company, like Disney, Warner Brothers, all these other Sony, all these other companies, they said. He said the movie was done. The movie was ready to be shown, but nobody was willing to feature it. Nobody. And the only reason it got out was because Angel Studios picked it up. Otherwise, we probably would have never seen this movie.
No.
So that movie hit, like, as a father myself, I'm not an emotional guy, I'm not the guy, like, I do believe that men should toughen up, they shouldn't cry nearly as women get a pass when it comes to crying. Us men don't normally do. I'm telling you right now, that movie gets me every time, especially as someone of Christian faith. It's, they say God demands you love everybody equally. Your family and everyone around you, regardless of backgrounds, because you will be judged the same way that they are judged. But it is really hard for me to love people like that. I will tell you. It's really hard for me. Okay. And a lot of days, I will admit, we live with the fallen nature. I fail every time when it comes to those people. I can't love them the same way I love my son, my girlfriend, my friends, my family. I can't. And I think maybe with God's strength I can, but it's really hard. So that's why that movie is number 3 on my list. I know you probably think it should be number 1, but I can explain more, and then lead up
it's in
to
your top 3, and that's a definitive quote or like
conversation
part of the movie that moved you. I'll throw one out there. My all-time favorite movie, it always has been, evidenced by my basement. I have a giant, actually from Cannes, the film festival. I have a huge, it's 10 feet by 15, 16 feet, the actual poster from the premiere of Braveheart in 1995. Whoa. That's what that is in my basement, in my workout room. That, in case any of the females are watching, I work out twice a week. Just saying. But no, Braveheart is my again. All joking aside,
still haven't watched
Braveheart.
that movie.
One of my it is my all-time favorite.
I still haven't watched that movie.
I mean, it's a must. You have to. It's about William Wallace, the great Scottish leader that rose to prominence and fought English, the warlord Longshanks. The famous King of England, who was brutal. I mean, his brutal reign over Scotland was notorious and just vicious. Reminds me a lot of current circumstances with other countries that are going on right now, but we won't dive into that because we'll be here again all day. But the phrase that I love, Wallace goes and tries to solicit all the nobles of Scotland to fight with him because he feels he is accomplishing his goal of getting freedom for Scotland. He wants a country of his own. He doesn't believe that they should be under England's reign. It's like, hey, we should have our own country. I mean, it resonates even today, even though this happened so long ago. And he solicits the nobles at a
history has a way of
meeting,
repeating itself.
And Robert the Earl, who's kind of the leader of the nobles, and it's the dichotomy, the metaphorical example of current day politics. All of these nobles in Scotland are corrupt. They deal with England rather than deal with their own people, the constituents that have gave them power. Yep. So all the Scottish people got to pay tribute to these nobles on their land, and the nobles in turn on their own people because they get more land and more money from the English in order to keep their rule over Scotland. They corrupt and they basically buy all the nobles. That's a little backdrop, so we're diving down a rabbit hole. He goes to the meeting. Wallace talks to Robert the Earl, the Bruce, like kind of the leader of the nobles, and Robert the Earl's kind of trying to schmooze him, and William Wallace, Mel Gibson, turns to him and he goes, Robert the Earl tells William, he's like, well, I mean, you could wind up dead. And William turns to him and he goes, every man dies, but not every man lives. Ooh. Powerful statement. It's one of my all-time favorite quotes in a movie, and it's one of my personal credo that I live by. Every man does die. Every human being does die, but do you really live? Do you take risks? Do you take the appropriate decision-making, certain situations, to make yourself as happy as you can be? And I believe most people don't, but I do that's have the phrase: "Every man dies, not every man lives."
I do have an honorable.
My one will be Braveheart. I'll lead off with that.
Yeah, I do have an honorable mention of one of my favorite quotes of all time. It's not my favorite movie, so now everyone's gonna say, "How is it not in your top 10, Nick?" It's a great movie. It's just not my top 10. But I will say I have more respect for it than I have for most cinema. And that's actually from the first Godfather movie. Mm-hmm. And it's, you guys all know this scene. So, I'm going to be preaching. But I'm just saying this is an honorable mention for me is, forgive me, I don't remember everybody's name. Who was Al Pacino's character's name?
Michael Corleone.
Corleone, yeah. And he was talking with his wife, Kay. And he was, he was saying, like, essentially saying, my father is very important, like a president or a senator or something like stuff like that. She goes, listen to how naive you sound. Senators and presidents don't have people killed. And he goes, now who's the naive one?
Correct.
That's like
I remember that.
That speaks volumes for modern history.
I agree with
It's
you.
like, so again,
It's
honorable
very
mention.
relevant now.
And that movie came out what,
It's-
75?
it's,
That was 75. It was 75.
74, 75, yeah.
So
Something like that.
that's 40 years ago?
It's still very, it's
No, 50 years ago.
100% relevant to today.
No, I think my math is wrong. God. God, I feel so
72.
72?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so.
53 years. It's 2025. You were right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I was. Okay, so I was right the first time.
That's a little honorable mention. Go back to Revenge of the Sith. Was there something in that movie, a scene or a quote that really resonated with you?
So the reason why I'm about to. Okay, so I'm not even going to get into why I'm going to choose it. I'll tell you what it is. So if you remember when Obi-Wan is about to fight Anakin, they had their back and forth. Security for my new empire. My allegiance to the Republic for democracy. If you're not with me, then you're my enemy. And Obi-Wan replies, so Anakin says, if you're not with me, then you're my enemy. And Obi-Wan says, only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Ooh.
And the reason why I think that is, the reason why I picked that is I heard someone who doesn't even like the prequels, although had more respect for 3 than episode 1 and 2. I love the prequel trilogy anyway. I love the first 6. I love the original trilogy, and I love the prequel trilogy. Sequel trilogy, that's a whole nother discussion. I don't hate as much as everybody else does, although I do hate The Last Jedi. Yes, guys, Last Jedi is one of the worst movies I've ever watched. Sue me. But anyway, so when I was listening to the former coworker I had that hated the prequel trilogy, but said one of the things, if not the only thing he liked about the prequels, was how, if you really think about it, Fletch, that prequel trilogy kind of symbolizes how Republicans and Democrats are, and what happens, like the dangers of someone like having absolute power, staying over their respected terms, or anything like that, and saying like the Jedi were kind of like very softly, like there's only like a few things they agreed with, which is more of the classically democratic side, and the Sith were more of probably the extreme like Republican side or something like that. And one of the things that the reason why I like only a Sith deals in absolutes is that's all politicians do. They deal in absolutes. If you're not with me, you're against me, for the most part. So I just think that
That's a profound statement. I remember that now.
And that's honestly why it reminds me of Donald Trump.
Because I saw
a little
all of
bit.
those movies recently with you.
Yes, I showed you.
You're the one that showed me all
Oh, I'm
of
sorry. Like last year, we all went to see episode 1 in theaters. I showed you episode 2
That was super cool.
Episode 2, I showed you the night before we all went to see the re-release of episode 3 in theaters this year, which was a phenomenal experience. I thought it wouldn't be as good as the first time I saw it in theaters, which was back in 2005. But this was better than ever. It was, I'm telling you, I've watched that movie 30 to 50 times. 30 to 50 times.
It's a
and
good
that
flick.
experience, I was not like, okay, like from start to finish, I was concentrating on screen. I was excited, and I was loving every single moment of the movie in theaters. But I think that quote just stands out. And one of the reasons I think it's my second favorite movie, it really brought, people don't give enough credit. I think that truly brought the trilogies together. Because one, the original trilogy just showed you a typical story, the hero's journey. Luke Skywalker is the last hope. He is the last Jedi that they have, the last hope to fight the Empire and stuff. The prequel trilogy explains how it got to that point. And what they were wondering, okay, how did this happen? How did that happen? And episode 3 kind of just, it answered every question. And the action sequences were phenomenal. The fight scenes were spectacular. The effects are amazing. And I think the acting is pretty good. I think some of a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit of the dialogue is questionable. But everything else was just that, it was just a spectacular movie. Very solid.
1000%.
And you even said, didn't you say it was your favorite Star Wars movie of all time? As someone who loved the original trilogy, unless you changed your mind.
No, I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I would think it's the best, but it's on par completely with The Empire Strikes Back, which I thought of the original trilogy was kind of the best. Not by much. I thought Return of the Jedi was awesome. The original was great, but I thought Empire Strikes Back was really good.
Now
So,
I have a question.
What's that?
You said you liked Red Dawn. Which one?
The original. I hate the new
In
one.
the 80s? Okay.
Yeah,
That's
the
what
one with
Yeah,
Patrick.
I don't.
the one with Patrick Swayze, right?
Yeah, and the thing with that, on that note, is I'm also one that doesn't hate remakes or reboots of movies as much as everybody else. It's like for example, and I've never watched this. Everyone loves the original Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger, but the people who watch the original hate the new one with Colin Farrell. I haven't watched the original. I have no problem with watching the original. I just haven't gotten to it. But I can watch an old and new one and still be more charitable with it. But I can say with full confidence that new Red Dawn from 2012 was an awful movie. It did not have, because you can't replicate the original of high school students grabbing guns and fighting against the Soviet Union. It wasn't the same with the new one. It was just high school students fighting evil soldiers, but it wasn't the Soviet Union. It was just a modern army. You can't replicate that. It's the time period is so different. It came out at a time when the Soviet Union, correct me if I'm wrong, was actually one of its high points, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the new one. Avoid the new one entirely. Nothing against the cast, but the new one is terrible. The original is amazing. But what's your...
The number two, I went in reverse order. I let off with my number one, but Gladiator, which is on my wall over here.
Gladiator's good.
Gladiator is my second favorite movie of all time. Absolutely adore it. I thought that was Russell Crowe's one of his best movies, but I mean the movie was just brilliant in terms of the way it was shot, especially at the time. Year 2000 when that came out, it was just so different. The way they depicted, the Roman Empire, it was nothing short of amazing. I remember seeing that in theaters. I own it on DVD. I enjoy it thoroughly. But there is a phrase in there. There's a lot of scenes. There's a lot of moments that are just monumental. They're great. They're fantastic. When he turns around, he reveals himself after he takes his mask off. Commodus Joaquin Phoenix asks him, slave, you will remove your helmet and tell me who you are. That's a great scene. But there's a scene at the end where Commodus has Maximus, who's played by Russell Crowe. He's the gladiator that defies an empire, the whole story.
Yeah.
And he says a very, it's a phrase that completely resonates with me again. Just like the Braveheart phrase, every man dies, not every man lives. Russell Crowe is talking to Commodus, who has him tied up, and he's held captive before they have their epic final battle between the two of them, and he injures Russell Crowe right before they go up to the Colosseum, and they're gonna fight. They have a conversation, and Commodus is talking about his father, Marcus Aurelius, who's another that character in that movie. Whoever plays Marcus Aurelius, I forget the actor's name. I mean, just phenomenal.
I haven't watched the movie in 16 years.
Phenomenal job. I mean, every character, every actor played the character so well. Death smiles at us all. All a man can do is smile back. Ooh. Again, goes to that notion of death being certain, but all you can do on a regular day, and I attribute this and I incorporate this and it permeates my everyday life, is that all you can do is put your best foot forward, try your best, and don't worry about extreme things. In this case, back in the Roman Empire, they're talking about death. I mean, it could be work, it could be a relationship, it could be something like just earlier. Like when you guys came over before filming the podcast, I lost an email and I had no explanation of what the F happened to that email. I think I was
Stuff
hacked.
happens.
I think I was hacked. I think it was hacked by the Russians. They got in.
Uh-oh.
They got in.
Putin's in our servers.
Putin's in my
He's
email
hacked the
especially.
channel, guys.
I know something's happened, but no. I mean, don't like. I mean, for a second, we all freak out or we all think it's serious, but in the grand scope of things, how serious is that?
You know,
and
sorry.
like he says, death smiles at us all. All a man can do, or a woman, but in the movie, all a man can do is smile back. All you can do is be as happy as you can be. Try to make a good decision and just put your foot forward and live life.
So
that's the way I take it.
I want to mention two more honorable mentioned famous quotes, favorite quotes of mine, and that's completely a response to what you just said. You know, like about the second favorite quote they have, the favorite quote from the Gladiator movie, and it's actually one of my favorite mentions. It's actually from a DC animated movie, like a movie you would watch. I would like to show you this sometime. It's a great movie. It's called Justice League Lost Front. I think the Lost Frontiers or. Wow, I can't believe it. It's a great movie, and I can't remember. There's so many of them, so it's easy to lose track of like what the name is. But so the Justice League all fight kind of like an alternate reality version of themselves. So like I'll just give one example, and this one only because it pertains to my honorable mention, is Batman finds someone named the Owlman. So the Owlman is him, but he's not him. Do you know what I mean? Like he is their Batman, but they don't have like the same philosophy, but he has like more high-tech stuff. Maybe that he has different skills that Batman does and stuff like that. And it's a fascinating conversation. Owlman has developed a twisted ideology that basically, like with war, with disease, you know who's the problem? Man. And what's the solution? Eliminate humanity. Because all they bring is disease and destruction. So villainous and very interesting and horrible motivation. And which is obviously different from what Batman path turned out to be. You know what he stands for. Everyone knows what Batman stands for, unless you look at the Thomas Wayne universe, but that's a different story. And after they got done fighting, and Batman was trying to get a machine to like teleport or something like that, so it wouldn't blow up the world. And as Owlman was strangling him, and he's saying, I'm going to kill you now and everyone else. And eventually, and he's saying like there's no difference between Batman and Owlman. Like he says they're the same person. Eventually, Batman gets the advantage on him. He throws a rope tie at Owlman and ties to the module, and he says, and this one, it's easily my top 5 favorite quotes of all time. That's when he says, "There is a difference between you and me. We both looked into the abyss, but when it looked back at us, you blinked."
Wow.
That's in a DC animated movie. They went that hard with that kind of movie. And then in response to what you also say, like death can smile at us, while all man can do is smile back at them. They say like, all you can do is keep going forward. Like you just take on the challenge. There is another quote that's from The Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy. Did you watch that movie?
Never saw that one.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I've watched it like 20 times.
My favorite quote from that movie, and this resonates with me. Like this is actually a quote that I go by every week, every day, every minute. And Eddie Murphy basically, like his wife is trapped inside the mansion, and he got like kicked out of the mansion. He's trying to get his way back in. He's trying to break the glass, but the glass is like magical and repairing itself. So he keeps trying, and he's just sitting down in he's just sitting down in pity. Like he's like I failed, And the woman in the glowing crystal ball, she's basically like, so that's it. Like that's all you got. That's all you're gonna do. He goes, what can I do, man? I tried and I failed. And she goes, you try, you fail, you try, you fail. but the ultimate failure is when you stop trying. And he goes, so what do you suggest I do? And she goes, try again. And what did he do? He took his car and he rammed it through the mansion. And he continued his mission to save his wife.
Gotcha.
And I think that resonates with everybody. You can try and you can fail, but the ultimate failure is when you just stop. I think a lot of people have said that in recent times, that is when you really fail. It's when you just stop doing what you're doing and you do nothing. Because you can guarantee nothing by doing nothing. And that's
Agreed.
in response to what you just said. That
agreed.
death always smiles us in the face. What can man do? Just smile back.
Agreed.
So
1000%. What's your number 3? I mean, there was a couple. I mean, we went
number 3 movie,
or the number 1 movie,
which would be
Endgame, because you went in reverse order, and I went from top to bottom. You went from bottom up.
Yeah.
What is your favorite quote, direct quote from Endgame?
You know, as much as I love that movie, I think Infinity War did better with memorable quotes. Now, and I'll just give one more super quick honorable mention. I think I'll tell you why. My favorite quote from Infinity War, I think Infinity War did this better than Endgame, was memorable quotes. And that's when it's the very beginning and he goes, no resurrections this time. Because the MCU had a track record of like killing someone, but then they weren't really dead. You remember they had that thing going? But he said that after he killed Loki and he blew up the ship. Because he was literally basically saying, forget that. I'm killing people for real. You know, it's like that's a pretty good quote from Infinity War. As for Endgame, honestly, I think the best quote from that movie is it's an exchange between two characters, but it's both of each other's last words, which is, I am inevitable. And then realize, no Infinity Stones, and Iron Man ends with how he began the MCU, which is, and I am Iron Man. And boom, he completely defeated Thanos' army. One of the reasons I love that so much.
It's an amazing scene.
And one of the reasons I love that so much too, like, you know, I was showing my girl the Marvel Universe. You know, that's how we got to this point, obviously. And re-watching all the movies, I'm telling you, one conversation that leads me back to that moment is from the first Avengers movie, and that's when Cap and Iron Man are arguing, and Cap says, you're not the type to make the sacrifice play. And Tony goes, yeah, really? Like you? You're a mortal experiment, Rogers. Everything special about you came out of a bottle. And they both, in that same movie, proved each other wrong. With Cap wielding the hammer, Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, and Iron Man giving his life to defeat Thanos and to give his daughter a better world to live in.
It's a great movie.
So I just think
it is a phenomenal. It's an all-time great movie. It's an A+. Start to finish. There's no weakness in the movie. It's just terrific filmmaking.
And people like to debate, like, well, okay, Endgame is great, but is it better than The Dark Knight? And I actually would argue it's not because The Dark Knight is not already an A+ movie in and of itself. That movie is phenomenal too. But let's be real, Endgame was great because of everybody. And I like Christian Bale's Batman. I think, you know, he was cool, fine. Solid role. He did his part for 3 movies, and that was it. But let's be real. And Christian Bale even admitted this during an interview. I think it was it 10 years after the trilogy had concluded finally? And he actually said that he was a little disappointed with his time as Batman, because he says that his time as Batman was overshadowed by Heath Ledger's Joker, which leads to my point of, why do you think people love The Dark Knight so much? It's not simply because of Batman and Christian Bale pulled off like an A+ performance. Again, solid but not perfect. It was because of the Joker. That's why people like that movie so much. I like Endgame because of everybody, because of every element. So I actually think objectively it is a better film than The Dark Knight. And another thing too that one of my former coworkers pointed out, you notice that The Dark Knight has extras issues, if you know what I mean by that?
Mm-mm.
So, you know, Gotham is based on New York City, right? And one of the things the coworker mentioned was, like during a bombing in Gotham City, that you would think that with an explosion you would see like a whole lot of people like running in panic in the streets, in the alleyways and stuff like that. Well, there was one scene that happened in The Dark Knight that involved like a big explosion like from a building, and there was like nobody like in the vicinity of running. Like you heard screams, but there was like just like nobody on the streets or nobody in the alleyways. It sounds like a nitpick, but it does speak volumes that like it's not like it's in Maryland or Oklahoma or some very small part of town or something like that. This is New York City we're talking about. So there's just something. It's just something to be recognized. That's all I'm saying.
I gotcha.
So,
yeah, no, for sure. Third one for me, it's behind me, but it's behind the curtain. Baseball movie. My third favorite movie of all time, Field of Dreams.
Field of
Absolutely love that movie. Kevin Costner plays Ray Kinsella, a guy that builds a baseball field, literally a field of dreams out in the middle of an Iowa cornfield. Just a terrific movie. It's a little long. It's about 3 hours, but it's super interesting, and it just flows perfectly.
Is it?
Yeah.
You've
It's
watched
just
it?
I had to for school, but I looked.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
it's just a great
Okay.
movie that revolves around baseball, but it has so many principles of what life's about, like, and especially family.
Oh yeah.
He ties in at the end his relationship with his father, which throughout the movie there's an undercurrent that he had a broken relationship with his father of sorts, and it never ended properly. He never got a chance to like say goodbye or respect his father in the right format. That resonates with me to a degree, so it's very personal in that sense because it's metaphorical again. It conveys to me and inside me of my own relationship with my own dad. But everybody always pulls the line from Field of Dreams, you know, the famous whisper. It's in Ray's head. He hears this voice throughout the movie. If you build it, he will come. If you build it, he will come, right? And he doesn't know what that means, so he goes on this journey, which is what makes the movie so interesting is his journey through all of these different lives of other people where he tries to piece together what does that phrase mean. That's not my actual favorite phrase of the movie. At the end, he realizes that the person he was searching for, if you build it, he will come. He initially thinks that's Shoeless Joe Jackson, played by Ray Liotta. It's not. Throughout the whole movie, he thinks if he builds his field, he'll get to meet his idol someday, and his father's idol, which is Shoeless Joe, famous baseball player. And to shorten up, because I don't want to be lengthy because it becomes boring, it's his subconscious, it's his inner voice talking about his dad. And he finds out at the end his father is the catcher of these famous players that come and play on the baseball diamond. It's a field of dreams, right? And they're ghosts, but they can see them.
This actually started to sound a little familiar. I'm not gonna lie.
You probably might have seen the movie, but you just might not remember it.
I don't know.
So if you saw it, you would distinctly, as an adult, you would distinctly. I think the movie came out in 1989, so it's got some mileage on it in terms of years. But the ending is phenomenal. He realizes his dad that he's talking to. He shakes hands with him, and the father's about to walk away into the cornfield where all of the ball players, the ghosts, walk after they're done playing ball. And Kevin Costner just looks, and it's emotional. It's one of the only 4 movies that I've actually teared up. I actually cried the first time I saw it because it had such an emotional power, such an impact on me because of my own relationship with my father, which is the point of movies and entertainment, is to move you, to get inside you, to make you feel something, right? He goes, hey, Dad. He gets that opportunity again, like a second chance to make amends with his father. He goes, hey, Dad, you want to have a catch? Meaning he never played catch with his dad at the end of his dad's life. And the person who's a young person at the time, but he realizes that's his father just as a younger person, turns around, looks at Kevin Costner, Ray Kinsella, and he said, yeah, I like that. And they play catch, and the camera pans out, and it's just a phenomenal scene. They throw the ball a couple times. Costner catches the ball and looks at the ball, and he just like nods his head, smiles. So powerful. I mean, it's just a great scene.
It sounds
about
like
family,
great
about
flick.
father-son relationships, which is why I like the movie so much, and I like that scene so well, because it hits home for me. You know, me and my dad, good relationship. Could it have been better? Yeah, and that's why, I mean, there's a special bond between a father and a son, just as there is between a son and a mother. It's a little different for both.
Of course, it's going to be different.
Yeah, I really love that scene because it just, if I had, like anything, if you had a genie in a bottle where you rub the bottle and you get a wish,
yeah,
it would be to see my parents again, but to also have a moment like that with my dad where, you know, hey, Dad, you know, you want to have a catch, because me and my dad,
wow,
we both loved baseball, and we had such an affinity for baseball, and that was a great bond that I had with my father as a child. So,
wow,
you know, it would be great if I could recreate that. You know, that's in the movies. You can't do that, but I can do it in my brain, and that's why I like the scene so much. That's why I love the movie so much. So hopefully that was kind of interesting for all you guys to go over movies, famous quotes, scenes that impact you, kind of have like a exemplary display in your own lives. Like we live out life, but entertainment can kind of live through you, and you can actually act out similar or have an ideology that's like impactful for your daily life. So hopefully you guys like that. We'll come back. We're going to pivot again in the final segment. What do? It's right above me. We have the little love sign in the background. We talk about the general state of affairs between men and women, my little dating stories, if I have any. I got a couple that are interesting and hilarious. So we'll talk about that for a little bit, and anything else, you know, Nick or Morgan wants to chit-chat about before we wrap things up. So
I think after you're done with your story or stories, I think we can just wrap up from there.
We can wrap up.
I think it doesn't help the fact that I'm already in a relationship, so I can't say, you know, this one time at the supermarket, this chick was just really doing this. Like I just don't have your stories right now.
Well, you don't have those stories, but you're in a relationship, so I mean, you can always comment. And she's right here about like what works for you guys in terms of communication, habits.
Sure.
Like anything that would be helpful for anybody out there. If there's 30 people, if there's 30,000, if there's 30 million people, if anybody can grab a nugget from what we talk about, I figure what we're doing right now is a success, and it has purpose, because if it's helping one person in anything, like if it's a movie scene, us talking about politics, oh, I didn't know that. On the American F.A.N podcast, I learned X, Y, and Z.
Right.
I think that's why we do this. So, I mean, there's never a time where it's like, hey, I don't have your crazy stories. Ladies and gentlemen, I advise nobody on planet Earth to have my crazy stories.
No.
Unfortunately, I mean, they are entertaining and they're fun to talk about. But at some point, it would be nice to have a normal, what I can classify as the inside the finger quotes as a normal relationship. So
sure.
We'll pivot right now. American F.A.N podcast. My buddy Nick right here, me Fletch, and we'll talk a little bit about the dating world. if we decide to splice things up, or if we do long format. This just gives you a little segue. We're going to talk about like the dating world in general, and we have the benefit of a special guest here. Miss Morgan, Nick's girl, is here in the background, so maybe they can talk about like great practice or great practices plural
Maybe
within
we can,
a relationship. That would be fun, right?
Maybe we can stop the video right here and maybe just make an entire video on like dating stories and stuff. Don't want to make this too bloated. I'm going to put timestamps on this one.
Yeah, this one you can just splice. I mean, right? You can just splice up.
I don't have that kind of editing power. So honestly,
okay, we'll then have Morgan hit, and then we'll start up again.
Yeah, so we'll catch you guys in the next segment. All right.